Hey there. It's another beautiful day. Let's watch some stuff.
Some people do stupid things. Don't do stupid things. You are about to hear my opinion. Do your own research.
Why do we feel phantom vibrations? Ever felt your phone vibrate, but there was no notification? Well, you're not alone. This phenomenon is called phantom vibration syndrome. It's so common that nearly 90% of people admit to experiencing it. So why does this happen? Our brains are always on alert for social connections and information. With smartphones being our main link to the outside world, our minds are highly attuned to them. When we expect a call, message, or notification, our brain tricks us into thinking our phone is vibrating even when it's not. The sensation is so real that we often reach for our phones only to find no new notifications. Studies suggest this syndrome is a sign of how connected we are to our devices, both psychologically and physically. Reducing the frequency of phantom vibrations can be as simple as changing the phone's position, turning off vibration alerts, or taking regular breaks from our devices. Embracing these habits not only decreases these ghostly buzzes, but also helps us regain focus and real-life connections.
That happens to me all the time. Because I carry two phones. I have my personal phone and I have the work phone, which is on me from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. every single day. And sometimes I think I missed something and I grab it and no, nothing there. And I thought I was tripping. I was tripping, but I thought I was the only one.
Capgras delusions is when a person believes that someone close to them, like a relative, a friend, has been replaced by an imposter, kind of like a doppelganger. And it is mostly associated with schizophrenia as far as that's a type of delusion someone with schizophrenia can have, but it's also a delusion that can be present in other disorders, like someone having a brain injury, perhaps someone with temporal lobe epilepsy, where you can have a seizure disorder, but then those seizures can also manifest as delusions and hallucinations. Some dementias, sometimes someone could develop Capgras delusions. They're not terribly common, but they do happen. It can come along with schizophrenia and is probably more seen with schizophrenia, but it can also be seen in other disorders.
I just learned about this the other day. Apparently, there's something in your brain, this Capgras syndrome, where people see someone that they know and love and they recognize them, but they think they've been replaced, like it's not them. And in a lot of situations, yes, it does indicate schizophrenia or dementia or Alzheimer's, something like that, because that part of the brain is just not making that connection. But how absolutely crazy would it be to like see your spouse or your child and be like, who are you? That would suck.
Did anybody catch what Elon said about what's going to come out of Memphis? And if you see what's going on in Memphis right now, there's some bullshit going on in Memphis. A lot of violence, a lot of things on the streets going on. Pretty but wild, but did anybody catch what Elon said in an interview about the new God? Our new God's going to come from Memphis. And if you know what he's doing in his business in Memphis with AI, go down that little rabbit hole, see where that comes out. But I hadn't seen a video of this, and I should have jumped on it when I saw this. And it's been a while back I saw this, that he literally made the comment that our new God is going to come out of Memphis. And the interviewer was like, started laughing and was like, oh, that don't sound, And Elon's laughing about it, and the interviewer's like, that's not funny. Pretty wild. But if you get a chance, try to look up that interview. I can't remember who the interviewer was. I think his name was Jordan, but not 100% sure about that. But if you want to go down a rabbit hole, start chasing down Elon in Memphis, Tennessee.
I had no clue what the heck he's talking about. So I found that interview.
You said something that caught me right away when we were discussing um, various issues just before we started. You said you were up till 4 in the morning.
Yeah,
So-
actually, a little more like 5 in the morning. But
Okay.
we got to the XAI data center or supercomputer center training from beginning installation to start of training in 19 days, which is the fastest that anyone has ever gotten a supercomputer to train.
And is that in that new building off to the side?
That's in Memphis, actually.
It's in Memphis.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's where you were?
Yeah.
I see.
Memphis,
Okay.
the capital of ancient Egypt.
Right. Yeah, you're bringing what?
Perhaps that's where our new God will come from.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Yeah, I wish that was funny. Yeah, okay, so I want to talk to you about alignment.
That was funny.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
There must be some kind of backstory to him saying that Memphis is the capital of ancient Egypt, and I don't know what that story is. And he did chuckle a little bit, which makes me feel like it's a little bit of an inside joke kind of thing. But as far as the new god coming out of Memphis, because that's where he does all of his AI stuff, and everybody's saying that AI is going to rise up and it's going to dominate us, so that will be our future god. I mean, yeah, a lot of people think that, and it does seem like things are going that way a little bit, doesn't it?
All this talk about UFOs, UAPs, and unidentified flying whatever they might be has now reached a new level in Arizona. UFOs are striking fighter jets, is now among a swarm of mystery objects spotted near a U.S. military sites in Arizona. In one of the latest incidents that's been reported, a UFO that struck and damaged a U.S. fighter jet is just one of a swarm of mysterious objects buzzing around Air Force training ranges in Arizona. Photos of objects looking like this have been seen all over the skies. They look like orbs, floating, I don't know what you want to call them. Videos of unexplained flying objects have been posted all over social media.
Arizona, y'all. I don't know what's going on. Sorry for my language.
What is
I
that?
don't know what's going on. Look at all this stuff. You see this? The sky? They're circling literally.
The FAA told the New York Post in a statement that the agency documents unidentified aerial phenomenon, UAP sightings, whenever a pilot reports one to an air traffic control facility. My thoughts on this is that there's been so many videos capturing the unidentified flying objects, military fighter jets getting struck by UAPs. They had to come out and put this in the paper so people know what they're seeing is real. What are your thoughts on what these UAPs are? Are they drones? Are they UFOs? Are we being visited just in Arizona?
I was pretty excited about this clip when I pulled it because I was like, yes, something new going on in Arizona with aliens and UFOs or UAPs, whatever we're calling them now. But then while I was playing it, I read a little closely, and it said it was in January of 2023. And that was before I started this channel, and I started unlocking all kinds of crazy stuff. I'm still pretty excited to learn about something that I had never heard about before. So apparently this fighter jet struck something, and it was just a drone, specifically a UAS, which is an unmanned aerial system. There was a drone. Yeah.
Did you know that your stomach has its own set of neurons, making it a sort of second brain? This network of neurons in your gut is called the enteric nervous system, ENS. Surprisingly, the ENS has over 100 million neurons, more than the spinal cord. This second brain plays a crucial role in your digestive process and overall well-being. The ENS controls your digestive system independently from your brain. It regulates the movement of food through your intestines, the release of digestive enzymes, and even blood flow to your gut. But that's not all. It communicates with your central nervous system through a connection known as the gut-brain axis. This connection means that your stomach and brain are in constant communication, influencing each other. Ever felt butterflies in your stomach when you're nervous? That's your ENS at work. The ENS also produces about 90% of the body's serotonin, a key neurotransmitter that affects your mood and well-being. So the next time you have a gut feeling, remember that your second brain might be trying to tell you something important. Understanding the ENS can help us appreciate the complexity of our bodies and the importance of gut health in mental and physical well-being.
That's super interesting. So our stomachs are like a second brain. I guess that's like why when you're hungry, it's hard to concentrate because that brain's not happy and you got to make your brain happy by eating something, and then it releases the serotonin, which does all the things because they're in constant communication with each other. Don't be hungry. It's not good for your brains. That's weird.
Pareidolia is our tendency to see familiar things in vague stimuli, like hearing hidden messages in music or seeing shapes in clouds. But most commonly, it's seeing faces in things. Unlike hallucinations, with pareidolia we see something in something else, like seeing the Virgin Mary in a grilled cheese. That grilled cheese there sold on eBay for 28 grand. Leonardo da Vinci wrote about how you can use pareidolia as a device in painting. If you look at any walls spotted with various stains or a mixture of different stones, you will be able to see it in resemblance to various different landscapes. You will also be able to see diverse combats and figures in quick movements, and an infinite number of things which you can then reduce into separate and complete forms. An Rorschach test attempts to use pareidolia to glean information from patients. Side note, look how dapper Rorschach looked. He never actually intended for the ink blots to be used as a general personality test, and he was skeptical of its ability to do that, and honestly I am too. Still, when you look at a Rorschach test and see patterns in it that are more familiar to you than just a random ink blot, you're experiencing pareidolia. And a 2012 Finnish study showed that pareidolia is more common in religious people and people who believe in the paranormal. 47 people were shown images of various objects, but some of the images had been altered so that they did have faint face-like features in them. People who believed in the supernatural were better at finding the altered faces in the pictures. They were also more likely to see faces that weren't there as well. That might be why a bunch of pareidolic images are religious in nature. Seeing faces in things could be an evolutionary mechanism, and it could have helped save our ancestors' lives over and over. Because if you're unsure whether something in the bushes is a threat or not, it's probably best to assume that it is a threat and react accordingly.
Is that something that everybody has, or is that just, some people? I know they said mostly, religious people. I am not religious, and I do that. And so does my son, which is really cool. He's been doing that ever since he was little, looking at like houses or the fronts of cars and be like, hey, it looks like a face for why ever. And I never attributed it to, potentially our brains evolving over time to see things that are potentially harmful. But does everybody do that?
Humans have a third set of teeth. New medicine may help them grow. Apparently, a group of researchers in Japan have figured out that we have a third set of teeth in kind of seedling form. And if we could use this USAG1 gene in order to stimulate a growth, we could get a third set of teeth, or people who've lost their adult teeth may actually be able to grow a replacement tooth. Pretty interesting stuff. They're going to have a human clinical trial, which I won't be a part of. Who's going to be a part of the next human clinical trial? Actually, I don't even think they did those, for the Plandemiru. Anyway, that's what's happening in the real world. Humans, third set of teeth. If you're missing teeth, your name is Billy Bob, you're in the middle of the country, and you got one left that you chew on your food with, let's just get you in there for the trial.
So I heard about this last weekend when I was in the live stream with Explore the Weird. If you haven't checked out Explore the Weird, go check out Explore the Weird. He's fantastic. I love watching his stuff. But somebody mentioned that, and I'm thinking, is this like a CRISPR technology thing? Or are they like just kind of manipulating genes to make us grow a third set of teeth? And then I started thinking about it. What if we are evolving? And that is our next evolution, is to have more teeth, because over the millions of years that we have been evolving, we've only had two. Maybe we only had one at one point, and then eventually they're like, hey, we need another set of teeth, and so boom, boom, extra teeth, and now there's like a third set. Are they like pushing this evolution, like they're going to advance it beyond what we're supposed to do now? Maybe in another 100,000 years we will have more sets of teeth, like sharks. We just keep popping out more teeth because it's necessary for our survival, and our bodies are like, hey, we got to make something happen here. I don't know. It's just a theory.
Did you know you hallucinate when you close your eyes? These vivid visuals are called closed eye hallucinations, and they're more common than you think. There are a few types of closed eye hallucinations. Phosphenies, those swirling colors and patterns you see when you rub your eyes. Hypnagogic images, dreamlike visuals right before you fall asleep. Form constants, repeating geometric patterns that seem to go on forever. These fascinating visuals can be triggered by meditation, relaxation, or even light pressure on the eyes. While usually harmless, closed eye hallucinations offer a glimpse into the incredible ways your brain processes and creates imagery even without external light.
When I found that clip, I thought it was absolutely incredible because preceding that, there was one that was unshareable where somebody said, when you close your eyes, do you see colors and patterns or do you just see black? So apparently, some people don't see that. They just see black, nothing else. And I don't know what that means. And I wasn't able to find anything that says, what does it mean when you can only see black? But apparently, some people don't see all that stuff. So are you one of those? Do you see black or do you see all different kinds of shapes and colors and things going on in your eyelids when you close your eyes?
Okay, you guys remember how I showed you the maps that were here on Earth before 1958, before the governments took them out? And I'm going to show you the Encyclopedia Britannicas in the public libraries before 1958. Here's volume 2 out of the alphabet A. And we're going to flip to the Antarctica, and this is from 1958, as you can see. Now, we're going to flip to the Antarctica and see what the Encyclopedia Britannica from 1958, before the Antarctic Treaty, says is there. Now, you won't find this in the new encyclopedias because the government's banned them. But what I want you to notice right here is, notice how it says the flights proved inland areas to be featureless in character with a dome 13,000 feet high at about latitude 80 degrees south, longitude 90 degrees east. Take a really, really close look at that. Now I'm going to zoom it in for you. When they returned to New Zealand, these flights proved the inland areas to be featureless in character with a dome 13,000 feet high at about latitude 80 degrees south, longitude 90 degrees east. Now, if this doesn't make sense to you, let me show you with an image of what a flat earth map would look like. Now, this is what a latitude 80 degrees south would look like on a flat earth map. As you can see, the dome comes down closer to you over the wall, which will be about 13,000 feet. Now, if you go back out into the center of the earth, or the North Pole, and try to go up to the firmament with a little bit of calculation, it's going to show that it's about 385,500 feet away. It's really, really simple, folks. Now, if you're not familiar with any of this at all, and you're just now new to all this, you could say, well, this guy is crazy. He doesn't know what he's talking about. But what you got to ask yourself is, why do all the maps before 1958 show a flat earth with the ice wall around it and a firmament, a dome? And why does the encyclopedia tell you that there's a dome there, and it gives you the exact height at the certain latitude and longitude? Well, the reason is because in 1958, that's when all governments and all nations of the world signed the UN treaty to ban all civilians from going to the Antarctica, and NASA came in and erased everything, just like they're erasing everything today. So again, ask yourself, if all this existed before 1958, why doesn't it exist now? How come it all of a sudden was erased and just disappeared out of your history books, out of your encyclopedias, out of your libraries? Wake up, people. Wake up.
All right, let me go ahead and be a globe propagandist, if I may. He said 13,000 feet, which is about 2.5 miles, which is also a little over 16,000 feet less than the peak of Everest, right? So maybe it's just this huge mountainous dome that's there, and that's, how tall the mountainous dome is. And that's where the globe propagandist kicks in. But then there's the fun part of my brain that's like, perhaps that's the dome that's covering the access to Middle Earth. Because I don't necessarily disbelieve that it's possible for there to be a Middle Earth. And maybe that's why we're not allowed to go there, because they're trying to separate the two species so that we don't interact with each other. They put a dome over it. There's a dome over it, keeping them in, keeping us out. That's why we're not allowed to go there. Maybe.
It's called the Manchineel. It is the world's most poisonous tree. If you were to eat one of these apples, it begins by being delicious and you go, oh, I'm loving this. And then it gets peppery and you start to feel tingling and your throat can close and you can asphyxiate.
That is so terrifying. This tree is so inviting. Like, it's like the greenest thing on this beach. It has these beautiful leaves and these little fruits. I'm so glad we're getting trained right now.
But what's crazy as well is that if you were underneath this in a rainstorm and the water dripped on you, you'd start to get blisters on your skin. It's really toxic stuff. Yeah.
Just a little carryover from the other day when we talked about how plants are trying to unalive us. This particular tree, everything about it is no bueno. And I think they're in Florida in the Caribbean, and they're so inviting and they're beautiful and you want to sit under them, but even rubbing up against their bark is dangerous for your skin. It's absolutely crazy the way that some of these plants have evolved to survive. And they're all labeled out there. They got like a red line across them and a sign, hey, stay away. And I don't know why we're not getting rid of them. I don't know what they do for our ecosystem, that we're not just like, hey. All right, so the series that we were watching got a little weird. It made me uncomfortable and I didn't like it. So we're not going to watch that. If you would like to watch it on your own, it's called Pipergate, and you can find it on YouTube or on TikTok, but I'm not interested in continuing on with it. So I'll brought you something else.
NATO is the biggest military alliance today on the world. Switzerland is not a part of NATO. I'm personally happy that we're not part of NATO, but obviously NATO countries surround Switzerland. Germany is a NATO country. France is a NATO country. Italy is a NATO country. Austria is not a NATO country. They're neutral. But I was always interested in this big military alliance. And when I did my PhD, I researched the history of NATO. NATO was founded in 1949, so after the Second World War. And I found out that in 1990, there was a military scandal that rocked all over Europe, and it started in Italy, where Italian Prime Minister Giulio Andreotti, he's now dead, said there is a secret army in Italy. It's called Gladio, and it is a secret military army which exists within the Italian government. So you have the Italian government. One part of it is the Defense Department, Defense Minister. And within the Defense Department, you have the Military Secret Service. And in the Military Secret Service, you have a top secret branch, which is called Gladio. So, you know, people on the streets had no clue about it because it was hidden, very well hidden. And so Giulio Andreotti said, and this secret army has been set up by the CIA, American Secret Service sets up a structure within Italy in the, inner secret service, in the military secret service. People are like, okay. And the British Secret Service, the MI6. So it's a huge scandal. Okay, people in Italy go, no, this is a violation of Italian sovereignty, and this is Americans who control the country, and what's going on, and we want an investigation. So Andreotti says, yes, and I researched this in my PhD, and Andreotti says, well, we did not only have this secret army in Italy, it also existed in Germany. People go, oh, also in Germany. And I said, and it also existed in Belgium.
Gladio in Germany.
Yes. And then people go, in Belgium as well. And he said, yes. And at that time, the Belgian defense minister was in Italy. Guy Coem was his name. And he read in the newspaper, there's a secret army in Belgium. He's the defense minister. So he flies back to Brussels and he goes and asks, where's my secret army? I've never heard of it. And he asked the highest ranking military officer in Belgium, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. And he says, okay, I'm the defense minister. Do we have a secret army? And the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff in Belgium says, yes. And he's like, you're kidding me, right? I'm the defense minister. Why don't I know that? And then this chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff says, you're a socialist, and you're an elected politician, so you come and you go, yeah. We don't know where you are in 2 years.
Army stays.
Yeah, the army is here, and we're not going to tell you all the secrets. This is a top secret army of NATO, and it's in all countries of Western Europe, and it is an anti-communist network. So
so those ministers are on need-to-know basis over there.
Yes, we're not going to inform everybody.
So we're digging a little bit into Gladio. I'm super excited about this series. It's only 2 parts, but I broke it into 4 because they're really long. And I think it's super cool to find out that all of these governments were kind of like shadow governments that were working together and to, you know, keep the agenda going, whatever the agenda was. And they don't tell the president. The president doesn't know, or the rulers don't know, because they're gone in 4 years. They're gone in 2 years. They're gone in however many years their term is. Why are they going to let them know about that? They just kind of work in the behind the scenes area and, influence what happens in all of these countries. But we'll catch the next part tomorrow. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me. Please come on back. We're going to watch some new stuff. I'll say different things, and it's going to be fantastic. Until then, have a wonderful day.